City Update 2.0 is an amazing addition to SWG Legends. Each aspect of the update has given every player something new to experience, whether it is enjoying new city decorations, earning their master politician status, or granting mayors finer management of their city and its militia. City Update 2.0 is a boon for every Legends player. One of the biggest and most discussed components of this update has been the new City Expertise system. Replacing the old City Specialization feature of player cities, City Expertise allows mayors of rank 3 or larger cities to better customize the benefits their city and residents receive. A benefits effect can range from increasing a city's decoration limit to boosting a player character's base movement speed. With over 40 unique benefits, it makes a player wonder, what are the best benefits? In this video, I'll be taking a close look at each benefit City Expertise offers, rate each benefit's value, discuss changes I like to see with City Expertise, and weigh in on some suggestions and concerns the community has raised about the update. Before going any further, let's quickly establish a few things. City Expertise, and the wider City Update 2.0, is a positive addition to the server. It is not only more content, but also new systems that players can actively engage with. Everyone involved with making this update happen for Legends should be proud of their work. This video will contain both praise and critique for aspects of the City Expertise system. I've done a lot of editorial work on this video to ensure any criticism I present here is constructive. I appreciate all of the volunteer work that goes into SWG Legends, and I don't want any comments of mine to sound like I'm ungrateful. Truly, I thank you all for keeping SWG an active title in my game library. My hope is that this video and my desire to thoughtfully engage with an original game system made by the Legends team reflects my emotional investment in the project. To that end, I'd like everyone watching this video to join me in committing to a constructive discussion of City Expertise and City Update 2.0. Star Wars Galaxies is close to our hearts, and that passion may not always show itself in the most positive ways. Remember that we all like this game, and enjoying it with friends is easier than with enemies. I covered what City Expertise is in my City Update 2.0 guide, but let's do a quick review. Mayors of rank 3 player cities or larger can use their city management terminal to view and change their city expertise. City Expertise works similar to a profession's expertise tree in that the mayor has a limited number of points that they can allocate to unlock benefits for their city and its residents. The number of points a mayor has to spend depends on the city's rank. Rank 3 cities have 10 points, rank 4 cities 20 points, and rank 5 cities 30 points. 30 is the maximum number of points a city can have, as there currently isn't any other way of gaining points outside of city rank. City Expertise consists of two expertise trees, Civic Improvements and Resident Benefits. Civic Improvements mostly offers benefits that are only usable within a player's city's limits, while Resident Benefits apply to a player character wherever they are in the galaxy. Like Profession Expertise, points must be committed to the upper parts of the tree before benefits at the bottom can be unlocked. Similarly, some benefits may require a mayor to unlock another benefit first. This is noted in a benefit's description and visually illustrated in the tree using arrows that appear to link the boxes. City Expertise can be reset at any time by a mayor at an escalating credit cost. If a player's city D ranks, their City Expertise is reset for free and the total number of City Expertise points available will change to match their current rank. If a city's rank drops from rank 3 to rank 2, they'll lose access to City Expertise and any benefits it was conferring to the city and its citizens. For a player character to receive any benefits of City Expertise, they'll need a house placed within a city's limits and declare residency to the structure using the Structure Management Terminal. Unlike the retired City Specialization system, players cannot enter a city and receive its bonuses for simply being within the city's borders. However, the new NPCs in Portable Bazaar Terminal can be used by non-residents. Civic structures like shuttleports and cloning centers can also still be used by anyone. I will be giving each benefit a rating of either good, okay, or Akbar, because it's a trap. Good rated benefits mean their expertise point investment is a great value when compared to other options, and the effect is widely applicable. Okay rated benefits may have a more niche appeal or not an amazing return for the required point investment. Akbar rated benefits will either have a poor effect, very limited appeal, a point cost that outweighs its effect, or a mixture of these issues. I'm assigning these ratings from the perspective of a player who is considering which of these benefits will enhance their game experience the most. While I am a mayor of a city on Corellia at the time of making this video, I'm not considering how these benefits may impact my city's appeal or manageability. I'm also not evaluating benefits on criteria that are too hard to observe. For example, if a benefit generates extra tokens for a player, I'm only considering that the player is getting more tokens, not whatever potential consequences there may be for allowing players to generate more tokens, like a depreciation in that token's value. With that established, let's start from the top of the Civic Improvements tree. Encore performance increases the length of time storyteller props last when placed within the limits of the city. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total increase of 4 days to the lifespan of all props. This benefit existed previously as a city specialization, but only increased the duration of props by 12 hours. While I personally don't use storyteller props often, I recognize this as a major quality of life improvement for those that do, which is why I'm rating it as good. Keep in mind that storyteller props disappear when the server resets, so if props seem to expire early, check the Legends Discord to make sure the server didn't reset recently. Improved Job Market increases the number of comp nor bonus rewards a player can receive per day from missions started from terminals within the city's limits. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total increase of 10 missions per day. This is an improvement over the old city specialization of the same name, which only increased the payout bonus by 20% for mission terminals. Cities looking to accommodate new players will find this to be a great investment for those relying on the comp nor bonus to level quickly or line their pockets with credits. However, most players will move away from doing terminal missions eventually, so cities will find little use for this benefit if they're not consistently bringing in new players. For these reasons, I'm rating this one as okay. City beautification increases the total number of decoration items that can be placed within the city. At first glance, it may look like this box gives cities an extra 50 decoration slots for 2 points, but in reality it is much better. A city's decoration limit is calculated by multiplying the city's numerical rank by 15. When you allocate a point to city beautification, it replaces the 15 with the value stated in the city beautification box. For example, a rank 3 city starts with a decoration limit of 45. If they get the 50 bonus from city beautification, their limit will increase to 150. Given this substantial increase and the enjoyment everyone seems to get from well-decorated player cities, this benefit gets a good rating. Improved Commerce increases the maximum length of auctions on player vendors within city limits. With a full 3 points allocated, listing durations will be increased by 30 days. This means a trader's listings time go from 45 days to 75 days. Personally, I love this benefit because it means I don't have to relist items on my vendor as frequently anymore. Realistically, 45 days was already manageable, so this isn't a huge boon. If I knew I wasn't going to log in for a while, I'd simply delist the youngest auctions and quickly relist them so they'd get the maximum listing time. Relisting only takes a moment since you can simultaneously select items across all nearby vendors from one window. 3 city expertise points is also quite the investment compared to how far 2 points can go with many other benefits. Giving it an okay rating feels the most appropriate, despite what my personal love for quality of life features is telling me. Manufacturing Center increases the chance of successful assemblies for crafts completed by citizens within city limits. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total benefit of 10%. This effect is identical to the previous city specialization of the same name. I'm giving this benefit a okay rating due to the minimal impact this will have on the majority of crafting sessions. Meeting the recommended assembly threshold of 160 is very easy for crafters, and any further bonuses beyond that have a small impact. Many items, like furniture, don't use assembly at all, making this benefit a non-factor at times. Munition crafters will benefit from this box the most, as a really unfortunate assembly phase can result in a weapon ending up without an open socket for an attachment, which can be emotionally devastating. Industrial Park decreases the power usage of factories within city limits. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total benefit of a 70% decrease. This benefit was going to be the only contender for the now unused unlimited power rating, since combined with the 20% power decrease from trader expertise and 15% from the efficient crafter's jewelry set, a trader could have 105% decreased power usage for a factory placed inside a city. Upon testing this, however, I found that the 70% bonus from a city expertise didn't seem to apply correctly to the factory inside my city, leading it to have the exact same power consumption to an identical factory placed outside the city. I reported the issue to the SWG Legends staff, along with the potential for factories to generate power with a 105% bonus. Assuming this benefit applies to factories correctly in the future and that something is done to prevent unlimited power, by maybe decreasing the bonus from 70% to 60%, I rate this benefit as okay. Power for installations, like factories and harvesters, is really inexpensive to collect yourself, so the amount of credits you're saving from these 2 expertise points is small when compared to the profit generation of other benefits. Research Center increases the successful experimentation chances of crafts completed by citizens within city limits. Up to 3 points can be allocated for a total 15% bonus. The old city specialization of the same name had an identical effect. This benefit is the reason why most players are picking up the last 3 benefits I listed. While not every craft has an experimentation option, many of the most expensive crafts must go through experimentation. Weapons and some ship components are two examples where traders find themselves with only one chance at nailing the experimentation phase. One unlucky experimentation roll could mean a difference of millions of credits. Traders are always looking to improve their odds at a successful experimentation, and the research center benefit is one of those ways. This is why I have to give this benefit a good rating. Efficient bureaucracy decreases the cost of city maintenance fees. Up to 3 points can be allocated for a total 10% reduction. For those less familiar with the system, each week a number of credits are deducted from the city's treasury to pay for the maintenance of its civic structures, terminals, and decorations. Higher ranked cities have a base maintenance cost greater than lower ranked cities, and, with the ability to place more types of structures and decorations, can have very high maintenance costs, with rank 5 cities exceeding 1 million credits in some cases. My rank 4 city has a little over 400,000 credits as a weekly cost, so a 10% reduction would save the city about 40,000 credits a week. While this reduction is nice, it costs 3 expertise points and has no tangible benefits for citizens. Most player cities on Legends don't tax their residents and either reduce or completely eliminate optional fees for shuttle ports and parking garages. The only players seeing notable savings on this benefit are the mayors of rank 5 cities who significantly decorated their city and filled it with player conveniences. Due to this high point investment, limited effect, and niche appeal, I have to give this benefit the first Akbar rating. Factional representation allows the placement of a faction recruiter for either the Empire or Rebellion in the city. The faction recruiter must match the city's declared faction alignment. This benefit costs 1 point. Depending on which planet your city is on will impact how appealing this benefit is for your residents. For example, citizens on Rory can travel to the Rebel outpost to speak with a Rebel recruiter not far from the starport, while rebels on Dantooine would have to travel out to the abandoned base point of interest or hop planets. If your city is on the line, then it cannot make use of this benefit, which can be a bummer since it is required to get 3 other benefits a neutral city may want. I rate it as okay since it's already saved me and my friends a bit of time, especially when we head home after a battle and forget to flag down to leave. Water recycling decreases the amount of water needed for farms within city limits. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total 10% decrease in water consumption. While water is cheap, I still rate this benefit as good, as it keeps my harvesters on other resources and credits in my pocket. Farm hands increases the amount of resources produced by ranches within city limits. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total 10% increase in creature resources gathered. More resources are always better, especially when it comes to creature resources, which can sometimes be difficult to collect en masse, but I still only rate this benefit as okay. This is because water recycling is a prerequisite that does not help renters in any way, so that could be 2 throwaway points if your city isn't operating any farms. Favorable conditions decreases the frequency of weather changes for farms within city limits. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total delay increase of 24 hours. All farmers will appreciate having this benefit unlocked as it not only saves them fertilizer, but time, as now they will only need to adjust their soil values every 4 days instead of 3. The only reason this box is getting an okay rating is because an unrelated ranching benefit is a prerequisite for this benefit. Spacer's Port of Call allows the placement of a chassis dealer in a city's limits for a single point. While the Kachiro chassis dealer is convenient, I love this benefit because it potentially saves players loading screen hopping starports, is the ideal city feature for players using homing beacons to hop straight down to their house, and prevents me personally from forgetting to visit a dealer. An easy good rating from me despite Factional Recruiter being a potentially uninteresting prerequisite for neutral cities. A chassis dealer in your city is just that good for spacers. Entertainment District increases the rate at which entertainers can build inspiration duration within the city's limits. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a 180-second, or 3-minute, increase to each duration tick of an inspiration buff. Note that this benefit doesn't increase the total duration of an inspiration buff. It only increases how fast inspiration's max duration is reached for watchers and listeners. This is different from the old specialization with the same name, as it increased both the tick rate and inspiration buff duration. While buffing faster is always nice, it is the most useful for PvPing, where quick buffs could get players to battle sooner. Unfortunately, Entertainment District is a point stretch for cities fully committing to the PvP bonuses in the Resident Benefits expertise tree. Assuming they commit 20 points in the Resident tree, they'll need to use all 10 of the remaining points in the Civic improvement tree to get the full benefit of Entertainment District. They'll need to spend 8 points to unlock the benefit, and then commit 2 more points to the benefit itself. If this benefit was more accessible, I consider giving it a good rating, but for now it gets okay. Medical Center increases the duration of medical buffs given by citizens in the medic profession within city limits. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a duration increase of 30 minutes. This means that if a medic wearing the Striker's heroic jewelry set applies their buffs to a character in a city's medical center structure while receiving this city expertise benefit, the medic's buffs will last for 2 hours and 30 minutes. This benefit is definitely a step up from the outdated city specialization that gave a 10% bonus to medical buffs and healing done inside the city's med center facility. While this city benefit is excellent on paper, it is underwhelming in practice. For PvE, the medics in Mos Eisley are rarely out of the way, allowing you to quickly refresh buffs in between whatever content you may be tackling. For PvP, the extra duration is great as it keeps you in fights longer, but PvP-oriented cities will need to spend 14 of their city expertise points to receive the full effects of this benefit. This means passing on decreased buff decay in the resident benefits tree, which is not worth the trade-off. This is why I'm giving this benefit a OK rating. Protection Racket increases the number of protected citizens a city can have. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total increase of 6 extra protected citizens. In other words, this benefit increases the number of safe houses a mayor can designate at one time. The safe house system allows mayors to designate citizens as protected, which prevents that character's house from being packed up after 90 days of inactivity have passed. The idea behind the system is that a citizen would tell their mayor that they'll be unable to log into the game for more than 3 months, so then the mayor would set the citizen as protected in the safe house system to prevent that player from losing their house's physical spot in the city. Personally, I've never used this system once as a mayor, and I don't think that experience is uncommon. For my city, these extra slots would be a waste of 2 city expertise points. Mayors who leverage the system may find these additional slots valuable for their city. Since the usefulness of the safe house system varies for cities, I'll rate this benefit as okay, even though I rated one of its prerequisite benefits as Akbar. Travel Hub allows citizens to instantly travel to City Hall using the City Waypoint system. This feature has been updated since its release and can now no longer be used during combat or while the character is indoors. While experienced players have plenty of travel options already, new players will find this benefit really valuable since it is instant and free. This benefit can also free up store locations in City Waypoint, Guild Waypoint, or Destination instant travel vehicles for other places. I rate it good. DNA Laboratory decreases the cooldown between sessions an incubator has that's being operated within city limits. Up to 3 points can be allocated for a total decrease of 3 hours. This effect is identical to the old city specialization of the same name. While the effect is great, the benefit's prerequisites aren't. While a character needs 1 point in Beast Mastery to operate a ranch, it doesn't mean Beast Masters are always interested in ranching, and the water recycling effect only impacts farms which are unrelated to Beast Mastery. Additionally, this benefit requires 12 points to be committed to the Civic Improvements tree before unlocking, which puts it out of reach for Rank 3 cities, which is rough on mayors of Rank 3 DNA laboratories prior to the City Update 2.0. For these reasons, I'm going to rate this benefit as okay. Controlled enzyme manipulation increases the quality of refined enzymes produced by citizens within city limits. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total increase of 10%. Enzyme refinement refers to the process of creating higher quality hydrolase enzymes. I'm not sure how this 10% impacts the process, like if it only applies to reprocessing or also impacts other stages of the process, but more is better, especially when getting a bump on a hydrolase enzyme's quality. This benefit gets a OK rating only because it has the same unrelated prerequisite benefits that DNA Laboratory has. Galactic Bazaar allows placement of Bazaar terminals within city limits. As a reminder, these portable Bazaar terminals can only be used to browse auctions and vendor locations. They cannot be used to list items or make bids on auctions. This box allows me to walk 50 meters from the front door of my house to price check items, and then walk home to list goods on my own vendor. Extremely good. Bustling production increases the speed of factories within city limits. 1 point can be committed for a total bonus of 20%. This is a nice effect, but I have to give it an Akbar rating. First, factory speed increase isn't a unique effect, with traders already being able to have a 35% increase by combining profession expertise and the efficient crafter jewelry set. Second, it will cost 17 city expertise points to get this benefit, with specific benefit requirements accounting for 7 of those points. That's over half of a rank 5 city's total expertise points, and it means they had to get both reduced city maintenance and increased protected citizen benefits, both of which may not be noticeable by a city's residents. That's the last benefit of the Civic Improvements tree, so let's move right into the resident benefits. Bounty Guild Contacts decreases the time probe droids take to find their target. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total time decrease of 50%. While droid speed is a stat bounty hunters can already get on jewelry, gear, and power-ups, I'm not sure it has an effect on probe droids, making the city benefit potentially a unique boon for hunters. However, this benefit also only helps bounty hunters, so unless your city is full of them, your citizens won't notice this effect. It gets an OK rating, as I can think of a few cities that may appreciate this benefit. Droid interface improvements improves the outcome of droid memory loot. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total bonus of 10%. Droid memory loot is referring to droid interface scanners, which consumes looted droid interfaces to produce items like convoy plans. While I'm not a fan of simply increasing my odds of finding something better, this benefit is only 2 points and at the top of the tree. This low cost and accessibility let it squeak by with a good rating. Institutional knowledge increases the experience point gain of all citizens. Up to 4 points can be allocated for a total 20% bonus. Another good rating here, as the benefit is widely applicable since it covers all player experience types. This, combined with the inspiration and excellent choreographer set buffs from an entertainer, will grant a player a total 60% increase to experience point gain. Black Market Arms improves the outcome of a smuggler's slicing attempts. Up to 3 points can be allocated for a total 5% bonus. This is another benefit that only helps one profession in a specific way, but that extra bonus may still be tempting for smugglers who want to maximize their odds of a good slice. I'm rating this as okay since it is a niche benefit, and 3 city expertise points feels like a lot for the return compared to other options in this tree. Preferred hyperlane access decreases the amount of time that hyperspace calculations take for citizens. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total 20% decrease. Hyperspace calculations normally take 40 seconds. 20% of that would be 8 seconds, resulting in a total 32 seconds for a ship to enter hyperspace with this benefit. I can only see those 8 seconds mattering if a player is trying to regroup as fast as possible at a hyperspace location near an ongoing GCW space invasion. For any other activity in space, it feels like a small quality of life bump. It gets an okay rating. War effort increases the amount of GCW points that citizens gain. The restriction is that the citizens faction must match the player city's aligned faction to use this benefit. This means an Imperial player won't get an increase to their GCW point gain if they're a resident of a Rebel Alliance city. Up to 3 points can be allocated for a total increase of 10%. 10% on its own isn't a big gain for GCW points, but combined with the perfectly inspired buff from entertainers, players can see a combined 25% increase to GCW points gained. If your primary means of getting GCW is PvE oriented, then this box will be a welcome boost. This box is less helpful for PvP players who visit flashpoints when they're active, as 1 or 2 big fights can yield more than a week's worth of GCW points. Despite this, it still gets a good rating since it is widely applicable for citizens. Travel Authority discount decreases the cost of shuttle tickets for citizens. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total reduction of 25%. The most expensive ticket terminal transaction a player can make is buying round-trip tickets from Corellia to Endor for a total 8,600 credits. A 25% discount would save a player 2,150 credits on this purchase. In reality, players are often saving less per transaction since most one-way shuttle tickets cost around 400 credits. This, combined with the numerous travel methods that circumvent ticket costs entirely, keep this benefits rating only at okay. Smuggler Prestige Bonus increases the amount of Underworld Prestige faction points gained by Smuggler citizens. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total benefit of a 3% increase of points gained. It is important to note that Underworld Prestige is not the same as Underworld faction points. Underworld Prestige is unique to Legends and is earned by completing missions received from hacking mission terminals. Underworld Prestige determines which consumable spice schematics a smuggler can purchase from non-player character vendors. A successful Underworld Prestige mission rewards the smuggler with 50 prestige points, so this benefit will be granting smugglers an extra 2 prestige points per mission, assuming it rounds up from 1.5. A smuggler would need to run 25 Underworld Prestige missions for this benefit to equate to 1 extra mission. Smugglers will complete a minimum 100 missions to cap their Underworld Prestige, meaning this benefit will save them from running at least 4 total missions. Smugglers ranked 5 or above in Underworld Prestige will notice a weekly decay in prestige points, meaning they'll need to run more than 100 missions to max their rank. At rank 10, the highest rank, smugglers need to complete 5 Underworld Prestige missions a week to negate rank decay. This means that the Smuggler Prestige bonus at 3% isn't noticeable for smugglers at the highest Underworld Prestige. While being ranked 10 decreases the cost of spice schematics by 25%, there is an argument to be made that maintaining such a high rank isn't worth a smuggler's time, since the majority of desirable spices are purchasable at rank 5 or lower. Not finding decay also means you're not potentially spending more credits than you earn running the missions by purchasing travel tickets, since you're locked out of enslaved traveling with your starship and other travel methods while smuggling. Even if your city consists of only smugglers who are all running these missions, this benefit isn't worth the point cost in the long term. It gets an Akbar rating. Stimulant Specializations increases the lifetime of buff items created by officers. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total lifetime increase of 60 minutes. Lifetime refers to the period of time buff items, like tactical serums and field stim packs, will exist in the game before deleting themselves. For these buffs, this city benefit will increase their lifetime from 5 hours to 6 hours, which better aligns with the duration of an inspiration buff received from entertainers. While nice on paper, this extra hour will rarely be used by most players. If a player is interested in maintaining as many buffs as possible during their play session, they'll still need to take breaks in content every 2 hours, or 2.5 hours if you have access to a player's city buff house, to refresh their medical buffs. It is easy to pick up more buffs from officers during this break. I suppose groups that have a medic with all the buffs can skip that detour, but I don't know how many groups actively doing something for 6 hours don't also have an officer with the ability to call in more buff items. PvP players are more concerned with the number of officer buff uses they have on hand rather than their lifetime, since buff decay from player-delivered death blows have officer buffs being consumed faster. The only use case for the benefit I can think of is if a player is grabbing a whole supply box before jumping into a world dungeon, like Deathwatch Bunker, and doesn't intend to come out for hours. Even then, they'll only be able to use 24 of the total 32 uses of tactical serum before the 6-hour lifetime leaves the remaining 8 to expire. This gets an Akbar rating as it is too niche of a benefit. City Defense Network increases the amount of invasion tokens gained by citizens. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total 25% increase in tokens gained. This means that if you were saving for the most expensive ground invasion reward, one of the tank vehicle mounts, 5,000 of your 25,000 tokens would have been earned from this benefit. Anything that helps lessen the grind of city invasions is welcome in my book. Good rating. Sample Rich increases the amount of resources gained from hand sampling. Up to 3 points can be allocated for a total 60% increase. This is a huge gain for players who spend any time spitting on Kashyyyk and Mustafar, so it gets a good rating. Part Collector increases the chance of looting space parts used for completing collections. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a 10% increase. Again, I'm not a fan of slightly boosting a chance to get something nice, but it is also only 2 points. Legends has rebalanced the stats of some ship parts crafted from the schematics rewarded by completing these collections, which boosted their overall value on the server. I'll give it a good rating. HoloNet Arena Marshals increases the amount of unrefined Tabana gas earned by citizens from the Bespin underground HoloNet Arena. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total 20% increase. This is the first of multiple city benefits that directly grant additional tradable token currency for players. I feel the true value of these benefits are best measured using the market prices for the currencies they grant extras of. Keep in mind that these values are estimations based on the Bazaar listings at the time of writing and my own experience. It is possible that these tokens will be worth more or less by the time you go to purchase or sell some on your own. Unfortunately, unrefined Tabana gas isn't a good first example since it isn't as sought after as other currencies. At the time of writing, there was no unrefined Tabana gas listed on the Bazaar, and there weren't any recent trade offers in the Legends Discord to base a price estimation on. Instead, we'll make a cost comparison similar to what I did for invasion tokens. The CCT Luxury Shuttle costs 7,500 unrefined Tabana and 250 refined Tabana. Traders can turn unrefined Tabana into refined Tabana at a ratio of 10 to 1 with a chance to get 1 extra unit of refined Tabana during the process. For simplicity, let's say you trade with another player for the refined Tabana gas and ignore its cost here. This means that 1,500 of your 7,500 unrefined Tabana was a result of this city benefit. 1,500 could be more than 15 HoloNet Arena sessions for some players, meaning they're saving credits on buffs and time spent from completing each of those arena sessions. This gets a good rating for being a massive time save. Allies of Aurelia give citizens a chance to earn extra tokens from completing heroics. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total 20% chance to receive an extra token. This chance roll seems to occur anytime a token is earned, meaning that for the Battle of Echo base, up to 18 tokens can be earned from a perfect, traditionally 9 token run. Unlike other city benefits related tokens, this benefit is only a chance to earn more tokens rather than a flat increase. I've made it clear that I'm personally not a fan of chance-based benefits like these, but I can recognize that a 20% possibility still, inevitably, leads to more tokens. More means more, this gets a good rating. On the topic of more means more, Asteroid Resource Refinery increases the amount of asteroid resources mined by players. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a 30% benefit. Good rating. The less time spent blasting space rocks, the better. Bountiful Harvest increases the amount of resources extracted by harvesters owned by citizens. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total 20% bonus. Combined with trader expertise, the efficient crafting jewelry, and harvest fair buff from entertainers, a single elite harvester can now exceed a base extraction rate of 70. More good ratings for just making more of a good thing. Restus Militia increases the amount of Restus accommodations earned by citizens. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total increase of 25%. At 15,000 credits per combination, players could earn an extra 375,000 credits per 100 combinations. Good rating. Flashpoint Fanatics increases the amount of Flashpoint tokens earned by citizens. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total increase of 25%. At 4,000 credits per Flashpoint token, players could earn an extra 100,000 credits per 100 Flashpoint tokens. Another good rating. Cloning Network reduces the duration of the cloning sickness debuff for citizens. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a 50% duration reduction. This means cloning sickness goes from a 10-minute duration to a 5-minute duration. Cloning sickness is an oppressive debuff preventing the player from doing most activities until it is cured, so I don't see a situation where waiting 5 minutes is preferable to curing the debuff immediately. Even in the case you clone to a location that doesn't have a medical droid, like a player camp with a cloning tube, you could travel to another cloning center, or watch an entertainer at the Mos Eisley Cantina, to cure the debuff within 5 minutes. The old city specialization with this name reduced cloning-related costs in the player's city, which, while limited, seems more useful than this version. This gets an Akbar rating. Fast Movers increases the movement speed of citizens. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total 6% increase to movement speed. This benefit states that it does not stack with other movement buffs. This leads me to believe it doesn't stack with holiday food, like chocolate candy berries, or similar effects. I also assume that it doesn't raise the current limit on the amount a player can increase their base movement speed, which is 25%. While 6% is a minor amount, it could make you faster than another player if this is the only buff affecting the base movement speed of either player. This game is also full of running, so being 6% faster may be useful to players who aren't already buffing their movement speed. While more is more, this benefit is only more sometimes. Movement speed matters most in combat, and professions often have an ability to boost their speed greatly for a short time. If they don't, then a grouped officer can give them a hand with the scatter and charge buffs. Feeling that, there are buff items that will give the player far more than a 6% speed boost if they feel that difference is coming into play. Realistically, most players won't notice a 6% speed increase that doesn't stack with similar effects. I'm settling on an OK rating with this one. Combat Dropship grants citizens the ability to instantly travel to some PvP zones across the galaxy. This is like the Travel Hub benefit, except it offers more travel locations than just City Hall. Citizens and guilds with access to waypoint travel already might skip this benefit, but it is great for smaller GCW participants. It gets a good from me. Improved cloning reduces the duration decrease active buffs incur when a citizen is slain by a player. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total 6% decrease. On Legends, when a player is slain by another player, the duration of their active buffs are reduced by 10% of the remaining time. This means if you have 60 minutes remaining on a buff and are slain in PvP, that buff's duration is immediately decreased by 6 minutes. The improved cloning benefit reduces this 10% decay by a whole numbers, meaning that the 6% decrease from the city benefit makes a player's decay rate 4%. Instead of losing 6 minutes on a 60-minute buff, the player would now lose 2 minutes and 24 seconds. The longer buffs are active for, the longer a player can stay in a fight, meaning this city benefit gets a good rating. The last city benefit to cover is Freelancing Mercenaries, which increases the amount of space duty mission tokens and mid-life crystals gained by citizens. Up to 2 points can be allocated for a total 25% increase. At the time of writing, duty mission tokens were going for around 2,000 credits and mid-life crystals 4,000 credits each. This means a player would earn an extra 50,000 credits per 100 tokens and 100,000 credits per 100 crystals. Back to more is more, which means another good rating. With all of the benefits now rated, here are the rankings. Most of the benefits, 22 of them to be exact, landed safely in the good category, while 17 sit in the OK category. 5 benefits were given the Akbar rating, which includes all of the benefit icons that have Han Solo's face on them. All 2 of them. Sorry, scoundrel. Now that I've described all of the benefits and explained how appealing they are to me as a player, let's discuss some changes that might elevate the ones I rated the lowest. My goal with these suggestions isn't to turn every Akbar into a good rating, but at least bump them up to a level I rate them OK. This is because I feel OK benefits have their place in city expertise, being options that have a more narrow effect but still enhance a player's experience in some way. My suggestions are also going to try and maintain the original theme of a benefit, so you won't see a box be replaced by a completely different kind of effect. I'm also going to voice opinions on higher rated benefits, as some of those could be improved with minor alterations, and I just have some feelings about others. Starting with the Civic improvements tree again, efficient bureaucracy is an effect that will never be desirable for a citizen since it doesn't directly benefit them. An alternative effect with the same cost-saving thing could be reducing the minimum fee on a player city's shuttleport tickets and parking garage vehicle repair fees. This would allow a city to further reduce prices on these services, which would be immediately noticeable to citizens. Alternatively, it could allow more of those service fees to directly support the city as opposed to getting flushed down the drain. If the maintenance reducing effect is non-negotiable, then I suggest reducing the total expertise point cost from 3 down to 2, or improve the per point decrease of the current benefit. While this won't fix the benefit's core issue like my first suggestion, it will make it a more competitive choice against other benefits. Factional representation shouldn't be a prerequisite for Spacer's Port of Call or any benefit that isn't directly tied to the Galactic Civil War conflict. This avoids a 1-point tax on cities that don't intend to align with the conflict but still want universal benefits, like Travel Hub and Galactic Bazaar. Water recycling should be a prerequisite for favorable conditions since they're both related to farming. Water recycling gating farmhands doesn't make sense since not every farmer is a rancher and vice versa. Speaking of farmhands, this benefit shouldn't be a prerequisite for favorable conditions or DNA laboratories since not every farmer or pet producer is interested in running ranches. As a nitpick, farmhands should also be renamed to ranch hands to better reflect its ranch-exclusive effect. DNA laboratories should be moved up from the 4th row to the 2nd row of the expertise tree so it is accessible to rank 3 cities. This will help smaller Beastmaster-focused cities get a foothold sooner to grow their community. Similarly, Entertainment District should be moved up from the 3rd row to the 2nd row, and Medical Center from the 4th row to the 3rd. This will increase accessibility to cities heavily invested in the Resident Benefits tree, which are cities who tend to want these buff-oriented benefits the most. Lastly, for the Civic Improvements tree, Bustling Production should have its prerequisites changed from Protection Racket to Research Center. This reinforces the crafting-focused theme of the tree's left side and prevents mayors from dumping points into a benefit for a feature they don't use. Looking at Resident Benefits, I would change the Bounty Guild contacts effect to decrease the time it takes for probe droids and any droid affected by the droid speed modifier to complete its launch task. This will increase the number of citizens who are positively impacted by this box, like traders utilizing interplanetary survey droids. This benefit could be renamed to Droid Efficiency or something similar to reflect this change. While this benefit would still leave out some professions, it would at least service more than one. If Smuggler Prestige were to keep the same effect, I suggest increasing the total benefit from 3% to 26%. This way, smugglers simply maintaining their rank each week would only have to run 4 missions as opposed to 5. Yes, this would make grinding up Underworld Prestige much faster, but I think that's okay given the lack of incentive to increase it much in the first place. If the effect of Smuggler Prestige were changed, I suggest increasing the number of illegal weapon modules citizens earn from Underworld smuggling missions and convoys. Smugglers concerned with the ground game in SWG will always need illegal weapon modules, so reducing that regular grind would be appreciated by more players than bonuses to Underworld Prestige. Regardless of what's done to this benefit's effect, Bounty Guild contacts should be removed as a prerequisite, and Stimulant Specialization shouldn't be dependent on it either, since the theme of the benefits are unrelated. As for Stimulant Specializations itself, instead of increasing the lifetime of buff items, it would be more impactful if officers had cooldowns of their supply drop abilities reduced. Potentially have the total cooldown reduction be 300 seconds, or 5 minutes, so that the supply drops arrive every 10 minutes. This would match the lifetime a supply box lasts in a world if it isn't emptied by a player. Getting more officer buffs into a player's hands is more valuable than increasing the lifetime of those items as I explained earlier. I think a version of this idea may have already been shared in the SWG Legends Discord, but I couldn't find that message. If that's true and the player who wrote that is watching this now, thank you for inspiring this suggestion. Okay, so Cloning Network. Yeah, if you want to keep the cloning theme of the benefit, I have 2 potential ideas. First, and most obviously, is to change this effect to reduce the cost of curing cloning sickness instead of the buff's duration. Not only would this be much more useful to citizens, but then also shares the cost-saving theme of the benefit that gates this box. If reducing cloning costs isn't doable, by either a technical or design reason, then my second suggestion would be for the box to increase the number of cloning facilities a citizen can store their DNA at. While not as universally valuable as reducing the cost of curing cloning sickness, I think some players would appreciate having more galactically available cloning options. Finally, fast movers. My issue with this benefit isn't the quality of its effect, but rather the effect itself. While the effect itself is relatively minor and limited since it can't be stacked with similar buffs, I don't like the idea of city expertise influencing a player character's stats when it can directly impact combat performance. I know 6% is hardly noticeable on its own and will be a non-factor in most situations, but it is more about the design precedent this benefit may be setting. That precedent being that adding more combat-related enhancements to the game's subsystems, like city expertise, is acceptable. Personally, I feel gearing a character for combat is already a tall learning curve for most new players, so adding more stat enhancements to subsystems would only increase the complexity and potential for confusion. Again, I realize the effect of fast movers itself is negligible in the majority of circumstances. I just don't like that it exists in the city expertise at all. Personally, I remove it and don't feel it needs to be replaced with anything similar. Those are all of my suggested changes to city expertise benefits. Here are mock-ups of what the new trees would look like if all of the prerequisite and location changes I discussed were implemented. In the end, I only felt 13 of the 44 city benefits needed any alterations. Overall, the Legends team did a great job designing 2 compelling city expertise trees. Like any update to any game, City Update 2.0 has elicited feedback from the community on a couple of aspects. Let's go over some that I've seen and my opinion on them. Number 1, I've seen a player suggest unlinking all of the city expertise boxes. This means that no specific benefit will be required to unlock access to another benefit. For example, a mayor could invest points in the manufacturing center benefit without first allocating points to improve commerce. I say, sure, why not? It would give mayors more flexibility to cater benefits to the interests of their citizens and potentially vary each city's expertise even more. The main potential downside is that some less desirable benefits that were prerequisites to better ones will get passed up more often, which could lead to more similar city expertise choices between cities than you think. Rebalancing point costs of certain effects, or totally changing their effects, may be needed in order to create more compelling point investments if all boxes were unlinked. Number 2. Some of the city benefits are taking away player incentives to spend time in non-player cities, like Mos Eisley. This feedback is typically referring to new features that used to be only found in NPC cities, like bazaar terminals and chassis dealers. First of all, player flight from NPC cities isn't happening. This is because NPC cities will always have bigger reasons to visit them than player cities ever will. Not only do many serve as questing hubs, they are also the primary access point for most players when traveling to a planet. For these two reasons alone, you'll always find players and services congregating in these cities. This is before mentioning all of the other unique things non-player cities get, like seasonal events, daily recurring events like invasions, and being the most convenient place to group up or meet people. Second, if player flight from cities did increase from this update, then good. The Galaxy is a big place, and never seeing anyone, other than away from keyboard officers dropping stims, in player cities can make player sessions feel a little lonelier. Seeing players using player city shuttles, running in and out of houses, and just socializing outside of Mos Eisley makes Legends feel like a livelier place. Number 3. Increased token earnings and city expertise will make players feel bad that they're not getting the same bonus. If a player feels bad that they don't have a certain city expertise benefit, then they should move to a city that does, regardless whether the bonus is earning extra tokens or receiving crafting bonuses. Due to city ranks having citizenship requirements and the constant churn player cities experience, I personally have never seen a player city turn away a new citizen. If you're looking for a more unusual expertise point spread, then you may have to spend extra time hunting for the right city or accept some compromises. Number 4. Only allowing citizens to benefit from city expertise hurts the wider player base. This critique stems from the old system where many city specializations, like Research Center granting increased experimentation chance, apply to any player inside the city's limits and not just to declared residents. At first, I wasn't sure how I felt about this change because I understand wanting to place your house where you want without feeling you're missing out on the perks of city life too much. Ultimately, I believe city expertise requiring citizenship to receive its benefits is a positive. Let me present some counter-arguments to statements I've read from players who don't support the citizen-only change, and then give my own reasoning on why the change is good. City Update 2.0 has incentivized players to join bigger ones over smaller ones. No, this claim is wrong because it implies that the player city system didn't already do this. City Update 2.0 didn't change anything regarding city progression or planetary limits for player cities. Incentives to join bigger cities over smaller ones have always existed, and waiting for rank 3 and 4 slots to free up on a planet has never not been frustrating. Now, these are totally valid criticisms of the player city system, but it is incorrect to put the blame for these issues on City Update 2.0. From what I can tell, the goal of City Update 2.0 was to expand the existing player city system, and not necessarily to address aspects of it some players have identified as problematic. While you can argue that the enhancements City Update 2.0 brought exacerbated these issues, you can't say in good faith that it caused them. If you're hoping to see further adjustments to the player city system on Legends, then you should focus that energy into constructing concise and thoughtful feedback for the staff, rather than tearing down this update in its entirety over something it didn't even promise to do. For example, I agree that the current player city system disproportionately rewards joining bigger cities over smaller ones. Unfortunately, the only way I can think of adequately addressing this problem is to completely redo city progression, not only in regards to how city expertise is unlocked and utilized, but how civic structure slots are awarded to mayors. While I think a total overhaul is a good solution, it may not be the one Legend staff are interested in adopting. However, if you think you have an idea the Legend staff would consider, then I encourage you to respectfully share it on the Legends forums or their Discord. Having to declare residence on each player character to receive city benefits on all of them is too taxing on the structure lot limit. I disagree. Getting a city's benefits is a small investment for a big return. There are multiple structures that only take up one of a character's 10 available lots, making the barrier of entry low for characters. 9 remaining lots is enough to place 3 elite harvesters or accommodate any other structure in the game. The way I look at it is I'm trading the potential to place 1 heavy harvester or factory for a house that, on top of giving me more storage space, is also getting me the benefits of city expertise. Not to mention living in player cities can yield other perks like being close to a shuttleport, crafting house, or an instant travel center. If all of that isn't worth 1 lot to you, then that's fine. Don't join a player city. Just like when you pick one buff over another, not joining a player city is an informed trade-off you're actively making for your gameplay. As for my personal reason why I decided only citizens getting benefits is a good change, Star Wars Galaxies is a MMO, a massively multiplayer online game. To experience the full game, you have to play with other people, whether it is clearing all of the game's dungeons, engaging in PvP, crafting the best items, or unlocking everything as an entertainer. All of these systems rely and reward you for interacting with others. Declaring residence in a player city isn't just checking a box for a bonus, but joining a sub-community in the galaxy. Players should be appropriately rewarded for playing with others in the player city system, just like they are in every other aspect of the game. If the idea of playing Star Wars Galaxies with someone else bothers you, then perhaps looking into booting up your own private server or trying more games in a genre that doesn't have multiplayer in the title. Liking, commenting, subscribing, clicking the bell, and sharing my videos with others is a great way to support me. If you want to take that support a step further, consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below this video or throwing me a super thanks. Channel members can get early access to my videos and behind-the-scenes features, among other benefits. If live interaction is more your thing, then consider following me over on Twitch, where I currently stream Star Wars Galaxies regularly. What are your thoughts on city expertise in the player city system on Legends? Let me know in the comments below. This video is different than my previous one, so I'd also appreciate any feedback you have on this style of video too. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, stay hungry.